Hello and welcome to Life, conversations about Ukraine, Russia, and everything in between. Today I have an interview for you with Mariia. She is from Ukraine and is currently studying here in the U.S. at COD. And we had a really interesting conversation and I loved hearing from her. So without further ado, let's go. Hello, can you introduce yourself and tell me where you're from?
Okay. Hi, my name is Mariia. I'm from Kyiv, capital of Ukraine.
So, obviously you're here now. Can you tell me a little bit about how you ended up in the United States?
Of course, about January 2024, I applied for a grant for study in America for academic year 10 months. It's called CCI program. So it was basically just community college initiative program for colleges in Ukraine to come to America. I won this grant, but because of war, which started in late February, my program coordinator texted me that the program should be shut down because they can't find the funding. Also, it's hard to get Ukrainians out of Ukraine to America. But about middle of the May, she texted me back that they found funding for 2 Ukrainians for this year, and they will send us to Warsaw to get our visas done, and after it, they will send us to America to study for a year.
So, you're from the capital. So what year are you in school?
Sorry?
Is it your first year in college or your second?
Yeah.
Your first year?
My first year in college in America, but I was studying in college in Ukraine for already 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So can you tell me, you said you're from the capital. Can you tell me about your family and your life and just where you grew up?
Yeah, of course. So capital is really big cities. There are a lot of districts. My district is more close to suburban, just really small areas that I really like. It's more peaceful than center of city. So I grew up just in really peaceful environment. I like it. I don't have any siblings. I have just mother and father. We live in apartments. It's not private house, it's just apartments. Yeah, but I love it there.
Yeah. So what was it like for you when the invasion started? I know it's a heavy question.
Yeah, it's a heavy question, but I used to answer it because a lot of people asked me.
Mm-hmm.
So invasion actually failed before it actually started. I remember it was 22nd of February. I was speaking with my friend to the phone, and we were watching flights that comes to Ukraine and out of Ukraine, and we saw a lot of private flights come out of Ukraine, and we it's strange.
Uh-huh.
Also, American consulars, they went out of Ukraine, I think, months before the invasion started.
Mm-hmm.
They just moved the main consular office to western part.
Mm-hmm.
So it was located in Kyiv first, but they moved it.
Yeah.
About, as I said, months before the invasion started.
Mm-hmm.
So when you lived in Ukraine, you kind of feel that it's not okay,
Yeah.
but you were just hoping for better. And then it was late night on 23rd to 24th. I was working on my project because I had a deadline for Ukrainian college. It was really big project. I didn't sleep at all. I fell asleep about 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 3 rooms in our apartments. I slept not in my room, but in spare room when we have all documents and other stuff. So there is the couch, and I just fell asleep in this couch because I was working too late. And about 4 a.m., my mom just ran to our room. She turned on the lights, and she's the war started. I was what? Because I slept only for 1 hour. I didn't understand her at all. And then she told me that her friend that lives in city near Kyiv, in Kyiv district,
Mm-hmm.
she called her and said that she heard some bombing. And in about 15 minutes, we heard bombing just right near our house. Because I said my district really close to suburbans,
Mm-hmm.
to rural areas, and they were bombing these areas. Also, my house is located close to military objects.
Oh.
So I live right near stations that produces train for civil people, but also produces tanks and other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they were trying to bomb this station.
Oh.
So yeah, we heard it and we started to pack our documents, but the problem was we didn't know where to go.
Mhm.
Okay, we in our building, so what next? we just packed all like documents, warm clothes, and other stuff, and started to call all friends, all family we knew, but the connection didn't work correctly. My mom couldn't even like call to her boss, to her work, just to ask what she needs to do.
Yeah.
So we just decided to stay at home. We were speaking with our families and friends, I think, for 5 hours or more. I was just texting, reading the news, chatting with my friend, and then I think about it was 9 or 10 in the morning. My dad decided to go to have his car done, like to put more oil. Yeah, and we went out of our house and we just saw a lot of people in a queue just to get the oil. We spent about 3 hours to just get it. Yeah. And after it, my dad called my godfather, and my godfather, he has house in more like rural area. It's more safety because they have a basement where they can hide. And my godfather like invited us to get there. So we just went to car, packed my cat, because I have a cat. And we just came to my godfather, and in godfather's house we spent 4 days or 5 days. 3 of them we were hiding in the basement because it was just really loud there. It was just really scared because you need to hide in really small basement. It wasn't like really big. It was literally very, very small basement just to keep wine there. So my godfather just had the wine. But there was like 8 people who needed to fit in this small basement. And it was scary, it was tight, it was awful. I think I didn't sleep for 2 nights at all. And I just fell asleep at 3rd night when we went out of basement. After 4 days, like situation comes a bit like more quiet. So we just came to our apartments again. We covered our windows with tape for it to be safe. And yeah, that's how it started for me.
So then you were just living there and you just stayed like in your apartment the whole time until you came here?
Yeah.
And so is your house and your apartment, like it's all okay still?
Yeah, it's all okay.
Okay, that's good.
Fortunately.
And your parents are safe?
Yeah, my parents are safe. They're still in Ukraine, they're still in Kyiv. Right now it's like difficult situation because for first months Russia was trying to bomb military stations and just, I don't know, they were trying to more invade it by territories, not by bomb rockets. But right now, when they understand that they like lose their game in territory sphere, they're trying to bomb not military objects but cities infrastructure. So there is no electricity, there is no water. Just to fix electricity, they need like to turn it on. Like our government need to turn on just to have a chance to fix it. So in Kyiv, my parents are without electricity for 4 or 6 hours per day, each day.
Yeah. So when you decided to come here, you said you went and you got your visa and you came here. Like, do you feel safer here? I mean, you're safer here, obviously, but is it like scary for you to have them there? Or how do you feel about that?
So first months here, it was just like a paradise for me because for the first months, I just felt like a normal life. Because when you live in Kyiv, you can't actually like go for a walk at night because you have like an hours you can't walk. For example, for Kyiv, it was like 8 p.m. After 8 p.m., police can stop you, ask your ID, and ask why are you coming to the street. Also, there are just a lot of military protections objects just on the road. For example, there are like big metals, like I don't know even how to describe it. It just metal things that just lies on the road, and in a case if there will be like tanks in our cities, the tanks will be destroyed by these metal things. But like all roads covered with them. There are a lot of police, there are a lot of like military services just in the streets. So there is no like normal life anymore. Even so, like some clubs, restaurants are open, cafes, people are on the streets, they're trying to live, they're trying to earn money, they're trying to support economic of Ukraine, but like you feel that it's not the same.
Right.
You have like these sirens that like tells you that they might be rocket arrival. So how they probably works, Ukraine system can define like rocket arrivals that Russia put to Ukraine, but they don't know where exactly it will go. For example, Kyiv or city near Kyiv. So they put siren, like air siren, to Kyiv each time they see like some damage. No, not damage, but like
might happen.
Yeah, it might happen or it might not, but still you hear the sound. It's really annoying, and it just starts to be like a bit of crazy.
Yeah.
So when I came here, it was just like a relief.
Right.
It's like, wow, there is a life.
Yeah.
I can walk normally. Yeah. Also, the thing I noticed, I was scared of plane sound, like for first months, like really scared. My friend that I met here, he's Ukrainian, but he lived here for a year already.
Mm-hmm.
He came for the same program as I did, but like last year, and he stayed here in Vitan. So he asked me a way to go to air show in Chicago with all these planes, and it was like 2 weeks me being in America. And when like the plane was like really near us, I just covered my ears because I couldn't hear it at all.
Yeah.
And it was just flashbacks, and I'm like, it's not okay.
Yeah.
But right now, like, I feel it's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first months, I didn't feel like any pressure or whatever. But with the time, I just understood that, okay, I'm in a safe place, but my parents are not. And like I started to really worry for them. And then this whole thing with electricity and bombing starts. So just the Russia literally starts to bomb Kyiv more than it was when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think from November, October.
If I know, like with electricity, like you can't, access like devices. It's got to be much harder. So how does like education work in school? Like, would have been in school if you were there?
Oh yeah. It's really funny because right now my colleagues from my college, like I still keep in touch with them.
Mm-hmm.
They have like diplomas and other stuff, so they have like session time. And it's really funny because when there's no electricity in city, no one can attach through the computer, so they just delay it to later times. Or they just, just text it with teachers. The lessons are cancelled every time. And I remember I texted with my really close friend, and he was like, when I don't have electricity, I don't have access to my computer, so I just write it down. Mm-hmm. Everything I need to do in the computer, I just write it by hand, and then when the electricity is on, I just go through my papers and I do it in the computer again.
Oh, okay.
So he's like managing his work like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing the scandals and other stuff. I think people that in Ukraine right now, they're like really survivals because they can literally study in so harsh, conditions. Like really harsh. Also, this friend, he's working, so in his work there are also no lights. He works publisher, and when they don't have lights, they're just doing some other work. They don't actually need so much techniques or whatever.
Yeah.
So they just kind of adapted to it.
Yeah. So also, what do you think of Zelensky and like how he's handled the war, and just like kind of him as a person, as a president?
Okay, my opinion about Zelensky is really changed when the war started.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the president before the war, I think, for 2.5 years. And when he only came as a president, I was really upset with him because he was promising a lot as a person, like servant for people or whatever, but you can't actually change the bankruptcy system. You can't change the system that was like building illegally for years, and one person can't change it.
Right.
So, but a lot of people was actually disappointed of him because he was promising to change it, but he couldn't.
Right.
And person who had a lot of, hope for him, they just started to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't much like him as a president when he was like for those 2 years.
Yeah.
But when the war started, I just saw him like from another perspective. He turned out to be like really strong person. He changed kind of even like his mindset about where Ukraine should go or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he handles the war really right. I think he has really strong team near him. Like even the head of our military, he's like really strong man because before Zelensky, there was a lot of president, and one of them in 2014, he literally sell our military to Russia, and then the war started like in eastern part of Ukraine, and we had no military, so there was all volunteers who just went to death just to protect their country. But right now we have like really good militaries that can protect us, and it's all was built like for this 8 years of war, and because of Zelensky as well. And this head of military, he's like really good man. He went all this way from like just being in military service to be a head of military.
Yeah.
So I think he has a big impact to Zelensky. As I said, I think Zelensky personally has a really great team near him, and as a president, he's doing all he can. He's doing a great job with, like, it's bad to say, but promoting Ukraine to world, because we need support definitely, and to have a support, we need like to promote us, not to promote war, but to promote what is truly happening and what we need, and he's doing a great job with it.
Do you think also, I mean, obviously you can't answer for like all of Ukraine, but like what would you like for people to do, and for like people in the United States and other parts of the world, like do you have like some like ways that you would like them to help, or you know what I mean, like what you would want?
Like no offense to America, I know that political stuff is really harsh to manage and all of this, but I just see how not small, like there's a lot of support from world, like definitely, but it's always feels like not enough. Especially when it comes to like big military organization like NATO and other stuff. Like all Ukrainians understands pretty well that NATO can't actually be in our war, because they have like their own, I don't know, like things in mind about nuclear weapon and whatever. But there was a lot of pretty bad stuff in Ukraine that needed the invasion from bigger organizations. For example, Russia terrorized 3 nuclear stations in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine. It's like really big nuclear station. And there was like even one situation when one nuclear station was very close to explode, because they turn out like electricity in a city, and the generators that needed to be like cold, they couldn't do it without electricity. And if this station like will be explosion in this station, it will be in 20 times more than Chernobyl was.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the like worldwide organization MAGATE, it's like kind of organization that not look for, but it's check about nuclear stations and other stuff in Europe. It came to Ukraine, but in report it said that nothing is in damage right now, and like the station is okay, but it wasn't okay. For real. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, and it's like only one situation, but there was like a lot of small stuff like this. And you're just thinking that, okay, maybe we just need more responsibility from like big people.
Right.
Let's say like this.
Do you feel like, I don't know, like what's your experience been like coming here and like with people, like their attitude towards the war, like the Americans' attitude?
I was surprised, because like even small things like flag, or just when people ask are your family is okay, it like really helps to feel that people cares. Just when you came and you say that you're from Ukraine, and you see like really, I don't know, faces that shows it, like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, or whatever, it feels very good. That like people actually cares about you, and you're like, thank you. Like we really appreciate it a lot.
What do you so okay, this isn't like what do you think, but so I know a lot of people are like Russian and Ukrainian, and like it's, you know, like there are a lot of people that are both, and there's actually another interview with someone, and she's both Russian and Ukrainian, but she grew up in Russia. I don't know, I feel like here like there's kind of like people have like misconceptions like about like Russian Ukrainians, but like a lot of, I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that, or do you have friends that are, you know what I mean, like have that kind of conflict?
I don't have any Russian friends. Also, I was listening to a lot of Russian music before the war. I knew that it's like kind of bad because I shouldn't do it, but still I did it. But when the invasion started, I just shut down all Russian groups. I like unfollowed all Russian bloggers that I followed previously, because when the invasion started, all these things starts to be like very radical for me.
Yeah.
Maybe for some like liberal people in Western part of world, it will seem like too radical, or like Ukrainians are crazy about Russians, but all the things that when you even hear like Russian language, it's triggered you. Because I lived in Kyiv, and there was like Russian troops just near Kyiv. So they were in Kyiv district, and my close friend, she lives in Kyiv district in a village, and she was in like occupation for months, and I didn't have a connection with her. I didn't know is she alive. I know that to went out from this occupation, she went by walk, by foot, for about 4 or 5 hours to closest big city to just find a bus or whatever to come to Kyiv. And my brother-in-law, he was shot in a car, like he survived, but his car was shot because he was also in village when the invasion started, and his village was occupied. And when he wanted to go out of this village, his car was shot, and he has like hole in his arm because of shooting. So when I hear Russian language, I don't think about Russian people who like lives in cities just peacefully. I think about those Russians who shooted my brother-in-law,
Right.
who didn't allow my friend to go out of her city just to be in a safe place. So
No, that makes sense. Yeah. So do you speak Russian, and is that like something that you've done?
Okay, so I understand Russian, but I don't actually speak it. Like in my family, my father speaks only Russian in his work and Ukrainian at home. My mother speaks Ukrainian at home and Russian at work. It just happens that in Kyiv it's half to half. Like half people can speak Russian, half people can speak Ukrainian. From my childhood, I spoke Ukrainian, but when I went to high school, I started to speak Russian because it was just easier for me to communicate with people. So I spoke Russian for about 2 years, and then the war in 2014 started, and I just switched to Ukrainian. And I spoke for 8 years only Ukrainian. I understand Russian pretty well. I can read it, I can watch videos, but I don't speak it anymore.
When did you start learning English?
So I think we had like these English classes from second school, middle school. But I started like to learn it normally, I think when I went to college.
Oh, okay.
Like I knew basics, but in college I developed it.
Yeah. So do you plan on returning to Ukraine? I know you said that your program is a year. I don't know, do you have a plan?
So this program is a bit of harsh because my program coordinator told me that we can want like another funding to stay here for 1 more year, but it's like really a small chance to do it, like really small possibility. So I'm planning to go back to Ukraine because I don't know why, but I feel more safe when I see my family in peace. Even if in a year there still will be a war, I think I will return if I will not have funding here.
What do you see happening in the future? Obviously you can't tell the future, like you don't know, but do you have an idea of what you think might happen?
I have like two perspectives. It's optimistic and more like realistic. My optimistic, I know, perspective, it just will end like about 3 months. Like I know, maybe some more like military worldwide organization will interrupt and just stop it or whatever, and we will just get back to normal life. My more like realistic perspective that it will happen longer, and maybe rocket arrivals will stop, but the positional war will continue because Russia don't want to let the idea to invade Ukraine. Like as I said, war started about 8.5 years ago, but it was like really positional war only in eastern part of Ukraine. It was harsh as well, but it wasn't like the massive invasion. And right now it's like really massive invasion. So from like realistic and maybe more pessimistic perspective, I see it is as just the massive invasion stopped and just a positional war as it was previously.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Ukrainians and me personally don't want it because we just want our territories back, and the war stopped for us with our territories inside the Ukraine. But to be real, I'm not sure that it could be done.
Yeah.
So
Lastly, what's one thing or like a few things if you just would want to tell like people who are listening, just people here, like what you want to tell them about Ukraine or about the war, what like you want them to do?
okay, what do I want to tell people? First of all, it's thank you, like really for all help, even for this podcast that you're doing. Like I really appreciate it that you want to spread a word about Ukraine. Don't get tired of it. I know that news sometimes get you depressed, especially when you read it and you're just like, oh my god, Ukraine, Ukraine. I know that it can be like depressed sometimes, but just don't stop doing it. Just be interested in it. Try to spread a word about it. Just to let people know that Ukraine still needs help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Slava Ukraini, and I can answer Героям Слава.
Героям слава.
It's like glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes.
Okay. So Slava Ukraine.
Героям Слава. Yeah. Україні.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.